Well, come on. And you can't make all that fuss and then not get on camera. Oh, yeah, it's good to see you today. Yeah. Well, it's because cats believe that everything belongs to them. They're not pushing your drink off the coffee table. Their drink is on their coffee table, and they're going to do with it what they want to. I do want to begin a general conversation where we're reinserting this idea about media manipulation in our everyday discourse on the left, all the other things that we're talking about. I don't think that we can overstate the importance of this manipulation, and again, I want to stress that we shouldn't be confident in our ability to overcome this manipulation. So, Sebs, if you're still here, going back to the conversation that you and I were having about determinism and free will. So, there's a philosophical idea called individualism. Individualism is the pushback against the reality that we are determined beings. Now, note, it's not a rejection of the idea that we're determined. It's accepting that we are determined. And individualism kind of argues that we're mostly determined, almost entirely determined. So individualism is concerned with pushing back even a little bit, as much as we possibly can. And the best methods for doing this, or one of the best methods, can be found in phenomenology. Phenomenology looks at the relationship that one has with the world, how it is that we come to know knowledge. Getting into the specifics of that's not really important. What phenomenology is going to argue is that by understanding the institutions, the systems of value, the ideas of identity, all of these things which shape the self, an individual, understanding how all of these things are determined, to the extent that they are determined, which is a very large extent, understanding how they come to be determined, we can change how we think about that determining power. This might not be a lot of control. This might not be a lot of choice, but it's better than none. So we know, or let me think of myself. Let me use myself as an example. So I'm forgetful. This is something that I know about myself, that I've known for several years about myself, that I've come to terms with. I'm forgetful. I could pretend that I wasn't, which is what most people do with the traits that they have that they don't like. Instead of accepting the reality that they have this trait, they ignore it or they pretend they don't have it. But this doesn't help them overcome it. It doesn't help them fight against it, right? So they ignore it. By ignoring it, they are completely determined by it because they no longer even see it. They no longer recognize it. So instead of me pretending I don't have this fault, I accept that I do. I'm forgetful. That doesn't mean that I give up. That doesn't mean that I accept that as a final end. Because if I have choice, I would rather be otherwise. So, what I do is I make lists. What I do is I keep a calendar, right? I actually keep several calendars with lots of important dates and lots of important lists, and I have several lists in several different places, all of which help me remember. And they don't make the problem go away. It's not a magic fix, but I manage to get things done, and I get things done on time, generally. And I do so because I accept the reality that I'm forgetful, right? And this is me being determined by neurochemical processes. This is me being determined by biological nature. This is me being determined by a world insofar as it has made me thus. I'm a forgetful person. But I push back against that determining force, that determining reality. And I can't make it go away. I can't choose to not be forgetful. I can choose to push back against that. So that, I think, is a helpful segue into how to deal with this Cambridge Analytica problem. Because on the left, let's take another good example. So on the left, we had a lot of problem with getting everybody on the left behind the same ideals, right? And what this resulted in is this terrible debate that happened between the prestigious Dr. Wolf and Destiny, right? This was the result of the left trying to come together to come up with some identity, right? Some central ideology that we could all get behind, and it was a failure, to no one's surprise, I think. Yeah, that wasn't. Thank you, Dorian Sapiens. You're absolutely right. It was a debate between left and the faux left, which I think that we should start using that as a term too, because it's. I think that Destiny is a lib, but he doesn't fit the classical. A lot of the classical. Typical qualities of a lib. We can get into the nitty-gritty of that if you guys want to, but I think we can just move on. But I think that Destiny is absolutely is a lib, and so I think that is kind of an important distinction to make. That it was a debate between the left and the not really the left. The faux left. But this was a product of the movement on the left not acting with intentionality. That was a product of the left being determined by external forces. Now, how we shift an entire body of political thought in an intentional way is something I don't have a lot of experience with. I'm sorry, I don't have the answers. I know that we need to, and I know that allowing these kinds of things to drive the political conversation and drive the how we organize our ideology is a mistake. We need to be more deliberate. We need to be more intentional. We need to take this upon ourselves to determine for ourselves what shape what form, what method our ideologies are going to take.